Because you go in and out, nothing stays the same, in and out. Cells come and go, you know, feelings come and go. That's why you have to do what you do every day. To become grounded, to become firm in what you want to continue to evolve into. Your divine expression. Your keen sense of awareness. You know, that intuition, you don't have to think about it anymore. Your divine expression is who everyone is right now, should be, are destined to be. Children, adolescents. That's why they say, you know, you're not grown. Just age don't make you grown. Grown just means you have reached a certain height of wisdom, a certain height of awareness. And you don't repeat the same things over and over again. If you start repeating the same thing over and over again, you know, the traditional definition of grown, you're not grown. So a lot of grown people that's not grown. Grown just means you don't grown up. You grew up from a little baby to where you are. Your divine expression, which is the turquoise, is a manifestation of who you are. The next color is indigo, which is your awareness of all things that surround you. You don't have to tell that child, but one time that something is going to happen, or that young adult that something is going to happen. They'll say it's not, but you know it is. You know it is because you've been there before. You've been there before. You have the experience now. Your journey has become such as, I don't have to know that it's not safe to go that way. I'm aware because my yesterday has taken me down that road. And you embrace that. You embrace it. A lot of times I tell my adult children certain things and say, when it's going to have an operation, the surgery. A lot of times I say certain things to them. I don't say it in a lot of words. That's why when you get older, you begin to say phrases like, keep living, keep living. My grandmother used to always say, I've been through the mill, but I didn't get ground up. I didn't know what she meant. After difficult comes ease, I would hear old folks say sometimes. They don't talk a lot, older people, you know? Older meaning elders, not old. It simply means elders. It means that they can teach us some things, teach me some things. Anybody older than me, I mean, you know, and I give everybody respect, but let's face it. I'll say yes ma'am to an elder in a minute. No hesitation. And I'm not a spring chicken. Okay? It's just a respect. They can teach me some things. Not that a younger person can't teach me. Don't get it confused. But it's just that it's a fact that they've lived longer and they have journeyed on some roads that I'm yet to journey on. You're not big on words when you get of age with knowledge. You just say a few things and you let this group right here experience it. They have to experience it. Through all my years of teaching, high school, counseling, women, men, young boys, through all my years of imparting strategies and problem-solving skills to them, they only use it when they're ready. I have 4 sons. They only use it when they're ready. My oldest son is what, 41? He still ain't using it all the time. So it's like one of those situations that I say to him like my grandmother said to me, keep living, keep living. And I understand what she meant. She's no longer here on the earth plane. I understand what she meant when she said that. And I understand when I would see her come and sit on her porch after hard days of work in Florida and say, honey, I've been through the mill, don't read the higher message in that until we go through stuff ourselves. Now, I've adopted that saying. I guess you hear me say it enough. Because I've been through the mill, but I didn't get grind up. I mean, I've adopted that saying. You know, I wrote a book about it. Being going through the mill, but didn't get grind up. It's called Don't Come Down from the Childberry Tree. I know y'all know what a childberry tree is. But anyway, it's a green tree, by the way. Green, balanced. Even as a little girl, I knew what I didn't know. I just didn't. I knew I needed to be higher than a tree, but I just didn't know why. Okay? So my journey led me here. Now, after the indigo comes the purple, the crown, your wisdom. That is your journey. That is your truth. Someone once asked me, is all truth the same? Yes, your truth is your truth. No matter how hard you try to twist it, or you try to make it sound sweet, or you don't want to reveal something because you feel shame, or you feel whatever emotion you're feeling is still your truth because it is your journey. And it is this responsibility of the elders to help guide anybody that's under us. Anybody that's under us. There used to be a time when teachers were so much older than their students. Nowadays, teachers are like 20, 21. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just that the thing is flipping now. Everything is like, what goes around comes around type thing. We're in an age now where our teachers still need to be taught just basic skills, basic things. Because the world of science, I don't have anything against science, because one of my daughters is a science teacher. The one that got to have operation. She's a science teacher. And another one of my daughters, she's pursuing education, and she works with teachers who work with autistic children. She works with autistic children. I'm from a family of educators. But anyway, she worked, and she said the teachers, this is a new year, so she said the teachers in there are so young, Mommy. She said, I'm older than them, and they don't know what to do. Huh? And they came late, the first day of school, and they don't have anything planned. I'm like, see, that's an example. That's an example of teachers still needing to be taught, and them respecting the wisdom of the elders. Respecting the wisdom of the elders instead of getting finished with college, going through their teacher education program, and thinking they have all the answers and they know what to do because they have that degree. The degree is fine. I have a master's degree. The degrees are fine. But it's nothing like having that practical experience, the experience that brings you here, that you can unselfishly share. Because it's not yours. It's in a collective reservoir. It's in a collective world of sharing now. All of your wisdom, everything that you've acquired throughout your life, it's not yours. Because it goes back to the source. It goes back. It goes back. And then it happens all over again. And it keeps on going. Now, that's not what I want to say about that. But, it is to share, and it doesn't have to be a lot of words. So, after you get balanced, you will know, your spirit will know when your divine expression has evolved. You cannot go to school for that. No one can put a time stamp on when it's going to happen. It happens to everyone on the face of the planet Earth at different times. Everybody learns in different ways, different places, different experiences, and so forth. But it's our collective experience that goes back. It's our collective experience from everybody in here that is able to embark, if it's just one thing, onto someone else. If it's something as simple as asking someone sitting next to you and really sincerely mean it, well, how are you doing? Well, how are you doing today? Are you feeling okay? And when you ask someone, when I ask someone how they're feeling, I'm asking them based on my experience. When I give someone a hug, it is based on my experience of receiving hugs and needing a hug at that particular moment. Why hold it? You give it back, and it comes back. It's like the in-breath and the out-breath, the in and the out of life. You receive, and you give back. And it keeps going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until your physical body, your lower self expire, but your higher self has collected all of the light that it needed to give on the earth plane and goes back to the source to do it all over again. And everything that I have shared with you today comes from within my journey. I thank you for being so attentive. I know that my time has expired up here. So, but can I take a couple of questions? Okay? I have more time? Okay, so I see it's about 12 o'clock. It's almost, okay. But I'm going to stop now and just ask if there are any questions, because I know I've said a lot. But I do want you to understand, and I do want you to know that everything that you see here, as far as my trees are concerned, has been divinely inspired. This is not something I came up with on my own. This is not for commercial purposes. You will not see these trees mass-produced by anyone, because my two hands create these trees, one crystal, one tree at a time, one crystal at a time. I call them sweet trees. Sweet trees, sweet is an acronym for sun, water, earth, and air, which is my ultimate inspiration. The sun, the water, the earth, and the air. About 21 years ago, I had a store in New Jersey. I've always made things with rocks and stones and colors. I've always worked with those things because that was just my path. As a little girl, I would pick up glass off the ground, and I just liked the glass of it. The different colors, and it's just something that I really enjoyed. I climbed trees. I had a favorite tree called the Chinaberry tree. It's my safe place when I was a little girl. But one day I was in my store making some earrings. This elderly man came in, saw me, he chatted with me for a little while, left, came back the next day. He had a tattered knapsack across his shoulder. Inside of that knapsack, he had some tattered books, not torn up, but worn, really worn. He pulled them out. He had me to look through them. He showed me some pictures of some of the things he had done in his life as far as the trees. And I was like, I was so excited because he used gemstones, and I was working with gemstones. So I was like, oh my God, these are so beautiful. Where did you get these from? How did you do this? He taught me how to do it. He taught me with one crystal and one piece of wire at a time how to wrap the wire and the crystals together. And he put so much patience and love and just time into how he was doing it and showing me, because it's like I wanted to make earrings, but he was showing me how to do the trees. And I finally learned. I don't know how long it took, but I finally learned, because I work with my hands really well when it comes to this kind of art. Sculpting, not drawing, but sculpting, I work with my hands pretty well. One day he came and saw that I had created a tree, and he was very amazed, and he said right then and there, you're going to take this to a whole nother level. You're going to take this somewhere that I wasn't able to take. After that day, I didn't see him again. He disappeared. I looked high and low for him. I never found him again. I never saw him again. And I know his name. I even did a search for him. His name was Robert Ritchie. I did a search for this man. I was never able to find him. I don't know whether he just was an angel work to me? I don't know. And I don't even question it anymore. Because some things you just leave alone. You just embrace it and you just leave it alone. There's no answer. There's no earthly answer to it. So I left it alone, and I made the trees for a little while, and I was thankful. I made the trees for a little while I was in New Jersey, but I stopped because I was into fashions. I had a lot of clothes out for children and adults. I was like, you know, sewing, doing fashion shows, going to New York, and just, you know, marketing my goods, you know, just all around, just busy, you know, just busy. Until I ended up in Florida by the grace of my grandmother, who got older, and she was, you know, here, about to take her place back, you know, with all of the ancestors. And someone needed to come to Florida to take care of the houses, the land. So my mother asked me, and I said, let me think about it. The next day, Mother's Day, 1995, May, I said, okay, Mommy, I'll do it. Within a matter of months, I was in Florida. She was 2 years old at the time. And my other two kids, you know, one was in high school and one was in elementary school, and we just came. Lived in the family house, and the little town got too small, and I didn't make trees anymore, to make a long story short. I didn't make trees anymore, but I still knew how. He gave me that gift and no one could take it away. I started making trees again when I moved to Tallahassee, Florida. I still did what I had to do in Tallahassee. I still work with children. I'm doing performing arts, getting plays, and, you know, still do, because I'm in the performing arts. She's a performing arts student as well. It's in her blood. And you know, doing all the plays with the children, teaching children how to make better choices, using the performing arts as a tool. That's what I did, working at a private school. Then all of a sudden, something happened to my body. And didn't know why, but it felt strange. You know, it almost felt like a labor contraction. Because I know what labor pains feel like. I had 8 children. And they were all natural, so I knew what that felt like. So I had this little pain going on, and I'm thinking like, okay, maybe it's something that I need to go to the doctor for, and I did. And I was diagnosed with something that I needed to go through chemotherapy with. The chemotherapy nearly wiped me out. All I was able to do during the time of going through chemotherapy was to go to this lake in Tallahassee called Lake Ella. It's a beautiful lake, and sit down and make trees. All the trees came back to me. The man that taught me and what he said, it just came. It wasn't even a conscious thought. I just started making trees again. And as I sat and made those trees, and I still have the very first one in my home right now that I made sitting by the lake. It's on a tree trunk. Because I put trees on wood and stones. I put trees on all kinds of stuff. It's on a tree branch. I mean, not a branch, but a trunk. You know, like, I think it's a cypress tree. What root is that pops out? Is it a cypress tree? It's on the, yeah, it looks like an L. But anyway, I have some stones, some green stones and colors coming out of there, and I still have it to this day. But once I was finished with the chemotherapy, I packed my daughter right here,